There, guys, it is currently the evening of the 10th of July 2015. Today was an absolutely busy day out here in the Western Pacific. Linfa made landfall. It has since dissipated. Nanka still roaring off here towards the east, and Chanhom blew past Okinawa. That's the bulk of this update. We're going to talk about this storm system, an absolutely monster here on the satellite picture. And what I mean by monster is not so much the intensity, which is still pretty potent. Right now we're looking at a pressure about 935 HPA, but this is just a massive storm system. Pull back the satellite picture, you can really see the size of the storm system stretching all the way from southern portions of Kyushu. You've been seeing some of the outer rain bands, and then that inflow wrapping in from the southwest. And one could make the argument that these areas all the way not only into the Philippines, but even all the way back here towards Malaysia are somewhat associated with our Typhoon Chanhom, which is now there in the East China Sea. And that's all that inflow associated with the monsoon wrapping into our storm system, and one reason why it really has been intensifying out here today. It just has an abundance of moisture. We are seeing some good exhaust aloft as it starts to interact with the westerlies off here towards the north, allowing for this to just really start to blow up, kind of like stoking a furnace, and you're just getting more lift aloft, and it's allowing the storm system to grow. Meanwhile, back towards the east, Nanka, a little cannonball of a storm system, not as big, but this one's just as powerful. Look at the radar imagery now. This is the last 3 hours. Storm just pushed towards the south of Okinawa during the early morning hours, really bringing some gusty winds with it. But the big thing is, if you are watching this right now here in the evening hours on your Friday, you may be thinking, hey, I thought the storm was gone. What is going on? You still have that inflow I was just talking about, which is stretching all the way down here towards the Philippines, and you can see here we still have those very heavy rain bands pushing onshore. Really is going to continue to be the case as we go ahead through the rest of Friday, of course, but even heading into Saturday morning, we're going to continue to see these gale force winds out here. Nothing as intense in this morning, and I actually put this graphic together for NHK World, where I work Monday through Friday, and what we had was in the morning hours, actually in southeastern Okinawa Honto, winds upwards of 180 kilometers per hour. That's nearing 100 knots. That's just absolutely intense. Even though you are well removed from the center of circulation, the wind field on this storm was just absolutely massive. That's why even in Naha, 144 kilometer per hour wind. Damage being reported out here, we actually have been seeing mostly superficial damage, trees down, some flooding, especially near coastal areas. This footage, or this photo that is coming from the Okinawa Times, just showing a massive wave crashing on shore. And one of the big things we are seeing is you take a look at this, you have cars driving along the roadside, but also people are out and about walking, and actually 19 injuries were reported in the morning hours here, all of them due to people being outside in the storm. The ones that I did get exact information on, they were all because of flying debris and most people getting struck in the head, specifically the head, because other people may have been injured but did not report to their local hospital because, you know, maybe they just didn't think it was as bad getting a scratch or something on the leg. But just stay inside during these storms, guys. I know if you are the military out here, and you probably always complain, and that's most of the time I see people complaining that they have to stay inside during these T-Cores, T-Core 1E. Oh no, I have to stay inside, I can't get outside. I see that a lot in our comment section. Big thing, it's there for your safety. I know other people, Japanese people out here, they're very used to typhoons, but the fact of the matter is the military does have an obligation over a lot of people out here, so you just kind of have to deal with it and roll with the punches at the very least. And most of the time you get a day off of work. Unfortunately for me, I don't get a day off. I have to work harder. So let's take a look at the forecast as far as this storm system is concerned. Hey, if you are in these areas south of Shanghai or also in Shanghai and you're watching this update, thanks for tuning in. This is going to be a pretty rough storm out here as well. Actually, this could be one of the strongest storms since Winnie in 1997. It came on shore. Expecting to come on shore is around a equivalent of a Category 3 to Category 4 typhoon, but these areas north of the center of circulation where this is coming up, very prone to storm surge. We have seen that in the past, very low-lying areas, especially heading up into the Yangtze River Basin. It's a major flood threat setting up with this storm, but also damaging winds possible with it. And if we scroll ahead through this and look at about into the evening hours here on Saturday, I mean, we're still going to be looking at winds about 80 gusting to 115 knots. Enough to cause some significant damage, especially to to unreinforced structures, which there is quite a few in these coastal areas south of Shanghai. The city itself is built up pretty well, but I'm talking about these smaller villages a little bit outside of the city. And Shanghai, one of the biggest metropolitan areas in the world, so it is also prone to flooding. This is just something we're going to have to continue to watch, and I think this is going to be a big story by the time we look into Sunday. Main thing is the flood threat, especially coastal flooding out here. Of course, as we pull back the picture, we still have that inflow coming in around Chonhom, but the good news, it is letting up a little bit, guys. Thank goodness, right? It does look like that enhanced monsoon starting to settle down, but the Manila area, you're still going to see some scattered showers there on Saturday and Sunday, especially down towards Cebu. I know it has been relentless. I think that it's going to let off a little bit there for you once Chonhom starts to pull off towards the north, but you're still going to be seeing some pretty decent moisture inflow. Remember, ground's already saturated. Increases the threat of further flooding out here. This is from ABS-CBN in the morning hours. Just some flooding already occurring for commuters there on Friday morning. Good news, Saturday and Sunday, most people should stay indoors and just let that water kind of drain out if you can. The other big question I have received several times, actually mostly from people in Okinawa who are still getting impacted by a typhoon. When's the next typhoon? And there has been rumor flying around that the southern Japanese islands could get impacted again by a Nanka. I do want to say the threat is there. Is it high? Not really. Actually, anybody from Tokyo, extending all the way down through all of mainland Japan into the southern Japanese islands, needs to watch Nanka here, because we got our high pressure off there towards the east. We have the rainy season front off here towards the north. It all depends on how this interacts with our high and that rainy season front and how it's going to impact Japan. Right now, the Ogasawara Islands, I think, are definitely going to be impacted, but as we scroll ahead with the NavGem model here, it actually pulls our storm well towards the east of Okinawa, pretty safe out there for the southern Japanese islands, but has it crashing into the Kii Peninsula as we look ahead into next Thursday. Meanwhile, the GFS model, a little bit farther towards the west, and that one actually brings the storm on shore there over through the Amami Islands towards the north of Okinawa, with basically a bigger influence coming around the eastern periphery of that Westpac High. So a lot of air, subject to air with this storm system in an extreme long range. We're talking about a week from now, but at the very least, it is something worth watching exactly where this one's going to be going, and I think most of our attention is definitely going to be shifting over towards this storm system as we go ahead through the next several days. But that's all I got on it for now, everyone. Right now, let's continue to watch, well, Chonhom out here, nearest China, and, well, good riddance on Linfa as well. That has completely weakened out. Stay safe out there, guys.